Welcome to the Florandorder Time Chat. Today I'm joined by the wonderfully creative Tabby Hocking, an abstract artist and jewellery maker whose work brings together colour, texture and emotion to create both visual art and wearable pieces that feel like tiny worlds. Tabby and I are on the same page when it comes to time. She's all about letting go of perfection, though having a bit of structure to support creativity helps, and trusting that the small things really do add up. We're chatting today about how planning can actually help you be more creative and how taking the pressure off can make it easier to get started and keep going. So welcome, Tabby.
Thank you. That was such a good introduction. I feel like you actually just said it all. Yeah.
I hope not. Well, I wanted to kick things off by again complimenting you for your daily art project 365 Becoming. So I'll get you to explain that a little bit, but a friend and I went and saw your art talk, and that friend was a professional organizer as well, house organizing, and we were both just blown away by the pieces, which people can see over your shoulder as well, but just at how well you had kept going even when there were days when it hadn't happened. Because as organizers, we often see people who have great ideas or great intentions, and then one thing derails them and they never start again. So I just loved that. Yeah, you were like, you'll tell us more about it, but like, here's my project, here are all the days, and yes, there are gaps that exist. So yeah, so thank you so much for that project. So yeah, just recap, what was that project about?
Yeah, sure. So when I was pregnant for the first time with my son to be, my husband and I we had a long road trip back home from Canberra to Melbourne, and he actually brought up the question about what my art practice would look like once we had a baby. You know, how was I actually going to maintain that? Because, you know, we all know that having children doesn't lend itself to a whole lot of time, and particularly the chaos of the first year. And he understood actually how important it would be for me to find a way to make it work, how that's yeah, it's a core part of my soul and the things that I need to do. And so we chatted on the trip, and he actually came up with the kind of thought that it would be really cool to create something every day for the first year of our child's life, as a kind of, yeah, documentary kind of visual thing that you could see. And the idea really resonated with me, and I kind of instantly had some thoughts about what it would look like in terms of, I guess, a bit of structure. So for each work to be on a circle of paper, watercolor paper, and that I could kind of pre-cut those and be prepared and have a little kind of art caddy set up. And yeah, with the intention to create something every day, on the back to write just a little reflection, whatever I feel like writing, really, just to capture a moment of the day. So that was kind of it in its initial stages. And I mean, that's what I followed through with. The whole intention was to kind of keep it light. The idea was not to create a masterpiece every day. Actually, the idea was to have this practice, and for that also to be an important part of carving out a little bit of time for myself, being a new mother, knowing how much time I was going to be devoting. And so, yeah, in the months leading up, I looked into getting the paper laser cut and kind of different options, and that was going to be a bit too expensive. So I made the decision to make a template and draw up circles and hand cut them. And so I had that all prepared in advance. We even went to hospital with, you know, a week's worth of paper cut out, and I had some pencils and some watercolors just in a little kind of box to take. And as it transpired, I had a bit of a complicated birth, and I remembered on the first day that he arrived about this project that I was doing, but it wasn't. I didn't have any capacity whatsoever to start it then. But 1 week later, I did, and I continued for that year, and I guess there was a contingency built in for the fact that I'm human and that it wouldn't be possible every day. And so what I did for those days is I still had a circle piece that would represent that day, and I would just write the date on it. And sometimes I would write maybe what happened on that day and why I didn't get there or whatever. Or sometimes it was just left blank with the date, but it kind of still, it was still a way of showing up and marking that day and keeping that consistency. Yeah, which I think if I didn't have that, it could have been easy, if you miss a few days, to just keep missing more days. But it was like, oh no, here's this day that I missed. That's okay.
Yeah. And so when you on the day of giving birth, and then you remembered the project, what was the tone of the remembering? Or do you remember that, was it a flash, or was it, were you upset with yourself? Like, what was the tone?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think it was literally just a little light in the corner of my head. It was like, there's this thing, but there was literally zero capacity. I emotionally just couldn't, even though emotionally through the year it was an incredible support to me, like an incredible support practice to have. But at that time, I had nothing in the tank, and there was no self-judgment.
Great.
In the entire year. I mean, it can be hard to remember now. I think it's easy to say that, but because my intention, like I said, wasn't to create something that looked spectacular. Like, there were plenty of days where I created work that I didn't like, and that was fine. Like, sure, I prefer to create something that looks great, and it was lovely when those days happened, but I was showing up and doing the practice, and that was the primary goal.
And I remember from the art talk, some of the questions were, which is your favorite, which is your least favorite, and that as a whole, it just worked so beautifully. So even though you could zoom in on the days that didn't happen, or the ones that you didn't particularly like, as a whole, it was just beautiful. And I think with habits, that's really what it is. It's about the practice, rather than, the one thing, the day.
Yeah, what it all accumulates to. Absolutely.
Yeah. And and you mentioned keeping it light. Was that a way that helped you, like, get back on the horse, if you will, after a day?
Yeah, because I had pondered this and how to make it achievable, and giving myself permission to even just grab a fine liner or pencil and scribble for literally 2 seconds. It's like, if that's all it was. Not that it actually ended up being that all the time, because I enjoyed the practice, and often once I was there, I was like, I can find 5 minutes every day, and often it ended up being longer than that. But yeah, those constraints, I kept it achievable, and I allowed myself to create something that was simple.
I love that that's a classic brain trick, is just 5 minutes, and then often you'll do more, or like, someone's like, oh, just do 1 push-up, and then you're like, oh, well, here I am doing 5, doing 10, or I'll write 50 words, and then here you are writing like a chapter. So yeah, great technique.
Yes, it worked well. Yeah.
And so pre this, pre giving birth and pre this project, have you been someone who works well with structure?
Well, good question as well. So I don't naturally gravitate towards structure. My brain doesn't work like that, but my brain also really appreciates structure. So I sometimes actually need help, and I'm really lucky that I have a husband whose brain is very logical and methodical, and can often, like, help me chat through structure. You know,
Mm,
he literally came up with the whole concept of this and helped me kind of evolve it. So no, it's not something that I naturally do, but it is something that I'm learning as I get older that really supports me. Because without, like, I'm not naturally an organized person. I've never had a daily practice. I've often given up on projects. You know, that's kind of been my narrative. I'm that kind of
mm,
person. So it was a really positive experience to have this year where I did this project and achieved it. And it would not have happened without the structure. I can say
mm.
that 100%. It just would not have happened without that. And like a few other things as well, but the structure was definitely at its core.
Yeah. Oh, I love that about your narrative has shifted from, yeah, I'm someone who drops projects and who doesn't complete things, to now you're like, that was a huge achievement. And it's such a large upheaval in your life, like a change, a new chapter. It's incredible.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but it's been really interesting to be on the other side of it and see myself dropping into old patterns and not being able to. I haven't had a clear goal, clear thing, but I've probably dropped back
Mm.
into that old mode of operating because I haven't sat down and worked out what it is that I'm doing or created a structure. So it's been really interesting to reflect on why I was able to do that year, what worked, how I was able to achieve that, and kind of to offload some of it. You know, it's not like, oh, it's not that I can't do that, it's not me. It's just like literally I needed some of these kinds of tools and ducks in a row to make it happen. That's all. And it's just that I
Mm.
haven't done that now, and that's the reason why I don't have any kind of daily practice at the moment.
Yeah. And was it different? So there's daily practice versus pieces that you've done in the past, like with knowing that a piece is finished. Like, was it a different feeling versus that like daily in the moment?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very different to the way I would normally create art, definitely. Like I can be very lost in the process of creating an artwork and work on it regularly and be dedicated and whatever. But there was in the project that I did in that year, the kind of simplicity of it and knowing that they were shorter works
Mm.
kind of meant that I didn't overwork things or spend excessive amount of time on it. Like there was just a real freshness and freedom. And I guess I also didn't have any kind of particular visual aesthetic I was trying to achieve. It was actually just about playing and experimenting. Um, so I just followed those threads and I ended up discovering a whole lot of things that I think I wouldn't have otherwise discovered in my practice because I had that freedom to just play every day. Whereas normally I'm sort of, you know, I might have a bit of a vision of what I'm trying to create, or it might be more of a kind of commission idea of something I'm doing or something I think I should do, or I want to make it look great. And so there was none of that. Um, yeah, I don't know if that answers your question or if I just went on a big tangent, but
No, all very good. And I love that what you mentioned about playing and experimenting. Like, did this feel um like, is it like, well, you started making art and being an artist like quite a young age. Did it feel like that time? Was it reminiscent?
oh, interesting. I think maybe in the freedom
Mm,
before you sort of start to you can develop those unhealthy habits of, you know, internal voices judging you. So I think there was that beautiful freedom. But I
mm,
think yeah, one of the other great gifts of this practice was it's probably the first time I actually felt like a professional artist
ah,
because I was showing up every day and quite early on. I think even before I started the project, I just had this thought that this would be something worth exhibiting. This would be something
mm,
that I would want to share. And so the whole year I kind of had that vision that I was working towards as well, which is something I've never felt up to doing, never felt kind of good enough or professional enough, or like I'd be accepted in a gallery or anything. And it was so funny because it ended up being so much easier in a way than I had kind of thought it would be. Like, you know, I sent my application to the gallery and they two galleries, and they both loved my work and were willing to have me. And it was kind of like, oh, why have I not done this beforehand? So I had some real breakthroughs, and yeah, have had the continued gift of I'm still really dedicated to my practice in a way that I haven't been, even though I'm not doing the daily work anymore. I'm showing up in a really different way to what I did when I was younger. And I think a piece of that is that, yeah, like we discussed, I've shown myself, proved to myself that I can have an exhibition, I can show up every day and work hard. So it feels real.
Yeah.
As opposed to a dream.
Oh, I love that. Yes, it feels real. Yeah. And so what does your what does it look like now showing up post that?
So I've been trying to achieve quite a lot of different things, which is probably where I'm going wrong at the moment. But I've been working more on my jewellery earring business. So, you know, coming up to the end of the year, I've had a few market stalls, been working on my Etsy shop. So I've had some processes in what I'm making that I've been, like, a lot of technical stuff I've been trying to work out, a lot of social media learning and marketing. So it's been a little bit less focus on the art and more on that business side of things, which I was really itching to do actually towards the end of the daily project. You know, I loved making the art, but then I was also really wanting to focus on business and marketing aspect. So that's been a bit more of the focus, but I've been doing a bit of reflecting, you know, end of year sort of time, and feeling like I would like a new project as a way to anchor in and do some more painting and drawing again, because it's very important to keep that up alongside all of the other parts of it being a business that I need to do as well.
Yes, I can see why the earrings are your priority at the moment. They're just beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I've got gifted myself a pair.
They're wonderful. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's wearable art. Yes.
Well, yeah. So they're all miniature paintings that I embed into the resin. So they are literally individual artworks. And a lot of people think they're scanned and printed, but they're actually all individual paintings, which is pretty fun to make as well.
Yeah. And as you were talking about, like, well, like this is more prominent at the moment, like the business side of things, or like setting yourself up, learning new skills and everything like that always takes longer than we think it will.
Oh, yes, it does.
There's definitely seasons, isn't there? And I can see that, like, as an being a professional artist, that would play out in that way too, like that you're maybe the season at the moment is the more business side of it, promoting yourself, and then maybe next month is about head down focusing on your new project, or, you know, kind of dividing it up that way.
Yes, I was discussing this with someone the other day, because the balance hasn't been quite right for me, and it's like I need to work out what that division is, whether it's like, so I get 1 day a week where my son's at childcare, that's my dedicated day, and then there's, you know, little snippets of time in evenings and things like that. But like whether I divide that 1 day up between art making and business, or whether it is more of the season thing, where I spend a month doing something and then a month making. And I think it's probably a combination of both in a way, but I think what I do really need to do, however that looks, is have a it's the small habits thing again that I feel like for my happiness I need to do. So I'm thinking something simple like drawing, and it can be, again, just like the 5-minute thing, rather than thinking like, oh, I need more time to make art, I need hours of time to do that. It's just like, no, remember, I did that daily practice and it was really achievable and it didn't have to take up a whole lot of time.
Mm,
So yeah, I've just got to think about what that's going to look like.
yes.
And what I've really realized as well, it's not just that, it's really connecting to my why I'm doing it. Because you can have these kind of fanciful ideas of like, oh, I'd love to meditate every day, or I'd love to go for a run every day. But like, I think you need to, I think for me anyway, like I need to dig deeper into that and like really connect with it. So there's a really strong conviction to show up. Because like we love to do a million things, right? But we don't have time to do all of them every day. So it's like, why am I picking this thing? Why is this so important to me? So I've got to do a little bit of connecting to that and figuring that out, I think, first.
Yeah, beautifully said, because that's that, and this is a perfect time to be having this conversation, because this is why so many people fail on their New Year's resolutions so early on the year, because the why isn't there. What they're focusing on is the actions, like, I want to lose 3 kilos. Like, that's not a deep enough why. But like, why do you want to lose the 3 kilos? Well, I want to, yeah, be able to run around with my son. I want to be able to, yeah, be healthy. I want to lift things around the house or things like that. Or, so the deeper the why of being healthy is more of
Yeah.
a deeper than the actual like thing that, yeah, can't
Yeah,
carry
yeah.
through.
No, I so agree. And I think it's really helpful to have the element of like, oh, to be coming at it from a point of view of like I guess like positivity and love, as opposed to shame.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I need to create a work every day, or like I'm not a real artist because I'm not creating work, so I need to do it. It's like that's never going to work. Like it's never
Yeah.
going to work. And so for me there was this real, for the year, this real excitement about having my child and this real excitement about doing this project and getting to have this documentary of the year, getting to have an exhibition, carving out time for myself, a moment for my mental health and expression every day. Like there were so many little things, and I can feel like the heat and joy in my heart just as I talk about it. So it
I
was
can
just,
too.
yeah. Yeah, it was all really aligned and had this like beautiful energy. And like I think I need that to really make something happen.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. So thinking about Fridays, are you more of a morning for the art or an afternoon, or is it wake
Oh.
up and see, or
Well, it's actually normally Mondays. Not that that's a detail you really need to know,
okay,
but
it's sorry, it's Mondays.
it's Mondays, which is actually really
Oh, okay.
great because the weekend ends and I'm excited about a Monday because it's my
Yeah.
art day. So it actually works really well for me. Um, yeah, I think that fluctuates, but I do think I probably prefer to start with the art. So
Mm,
I know that the way my energy works is that I am best in the first half of the day, and my art is the most important part, and that's what I want to prioritize. On the same token, if I'm needing to do something a little bit more analytical, any kind of writing or planning, I'm also probably better off doing that in the morning because I know my brain goes to mush. And maybe in the afternoon, if I put on some music, and which I do always anyway when I make art, but I could maybe just fall into that without having to use, a logical brain. So it definitely fluctuates. And like I said, I'm not naturally a structured and organized person, so I don't have
mm,
a regular with that.
mm,
And although it was interesting to look back over that year of, because I actually wrote the time as well as the date when I made the works. It was often, yeah, it was often first thing in the morning or 9 o'clock at night or during a random nap time. So it did vary, but it was either the start or the end of the day most commonly.
that is fantastic data.
Yeah, it's actually really
Mm,
good. I
that
actually, and
is,
I inputted it all. I have it in a spreadsheet actually because I wanted that at the exhibition for people to see what I wrote and the time and date. So I could really analyze that
You
data if I wanted
could.
to.
Yeah, just because what you said earlier about your brain really appreciates the structure, and so
Yeah.
helping you to on the next project really make it happen. Using the
Yeah,
data you've already collected on yourself would be
that's
phenomenal.
actually a really good point. I haven't thought
Mm.
about that at all, but that's actually a really good point. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for like what comes out next. Like will motherhood influence what kind of art you make or how you feel about it, or like will different colors or different shapes, or I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, the real gift of motherhood has been like I don't I don't have the luxury of time like I used to. Like I look back at the time I had previously, I'm just like, what was I doing with myself? Like I had so much time. But it's a real gift because now when I do have time, I it's I very rarely procrastinate. I like think about what's of value to me and use that time. So that has changed what my art looks like as
Mm,
well because it's not necessarily like a long slow session. It is a bit more immediate, and I think that's probably good practice for me.
yeah.
To know that that's a possible way of creating as well.
Yeah, because I like what you said earlier about the simplicity and the shortness of the sessions, and that it you've shown that you can deliver something at the end, even just with that. So I think even that unpicks some of the perfectionism of, oh, I need this much time, I need these specific conditions.
Yeah,
You're doing it.
yeah, exactly. And it's not to say that like there's a spectrum, right? Like there's a space for doing that short stuff, and I still do get into the meat and do longer sessions when it's available, but there's no longer that constraint of like it has to be that, so like, oh, I won't do it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that, and that flexibility just it seems very artistic even in itself. Yeah. This has just been a wonderful conversation, and I suppose just to close us out, what would you say to other new mums who feel like they've lost their like creative identity a little, like, and who could benefit from how you carried it through your change?
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, just to acknowledge that it is hard. It is a hard time. Um, but that if you can find a way to give yourself even just the smallest moment, it made a big difference to me. And that I think to make it happen as well in that sort of context that, like I had that kind of chat and like verbal contract with my husband that this was something that I was doing. So I guess not to be afraid to kind of voice with your family and loved ones or whoever's going to kind of give you that space. Like don't be afraid to ask for that because you might be surprised how much they actually want to support you in that. And that's an element that you do need, I think, when you have a family.
Yeah, and
So
that's
then there's no guilt. There's no
yeah,
guilt when you do the thing.
that's right. And it's a big piece of planning, is that talking to those around you to create that space, which I think is overlooked when we think about planning, is creating that space for ourselves, and that can be done just with conversation. You've
Yeah.
done planning by having a conversation. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And there'll be details as to where people can find you, where they can get your earrings and see your next exhibition. Keep in touch.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed that chat. It was wonderful. As always, always great to chat to you.
Always.
Yeah.